Hello, my most amazing artists. Today you're going to be getting a large piece of white paper that you're going to need to write your name and class code on, as always, in pencil. Then we turn it over and get ready to work. Today you're going to be creating your very own furry but ferocious creatures, the polar bear. We're going to be doing that using a new, super exciting material. Don't worry if you don't know how to draw a polar bear, because we're learning all together, step by step. Don't worry, you're gonna have this on your table to look at and reference, as well as me helping you along on the video, step by step. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you what we're going to be using today before you get to your tables and get working yourself. This is an ink marker. Ink markers, to work, you just twist off the cap, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. After you take off the cap, make sure not to lose it. Put it on your table somewhere that you're not going to have it fall on the floor and lose it, because it's really important to keep that ink marker working for everybody. Now, you might get a little bit on your fingers today, and that's okay, but we do not want to squeeze the bottle, because that will make a big inky mess. And if you know anything about ink, you know that it does not come off. It is permanent, just like a Sharpie marker, but in liquid form, kind of like paint, but it doesn't wash out. So please make sure to be super careful when using this super special art supply today. Now, to get started, I'm going to hold my paper horizontally, meaning long ways side to side, not vertical, straight up and down. Then I'm going to take my ink marker and just tip it over. I don't even have to press down or squeeze. And I'm going to draw two big rainbows. Now, you have a big piece of paper, so that means you have to draw big. I like to do this thing called ghost drawing to get an idea of where I'm going to put my lines, since I can't erase them and I can't get a new piece of paper. So I'm going to do my best today, but know that if I make a mistake, that it's okay, because it can just turn it into something else, like a happy accident, because there's no such things as mistakes in art. I'm using different shapes, just like circles. Then I'm going to be using some other things like half circles up for the ears, all different kinds of things that you already know how to do. So let's go ahead and try this out for yourselves at your tables. Go ahead and get your piece of paper and write your name on it. Once you have your name, class code, and you flipped your paper over, go ahead and open up your ink marker. Make sure that you keep that cap somewhere handy on your table so that when you're done, you can put the cap right back on it. Now, make sure that you're holding your paper horizontally side to side and not straight up and down tall ways. You want it the long way. That way, when we get started, you are following along with me on the video. I'm going to start at the bottom. Remember, I am not squeezing the ink bottle. I'm going to ghost draw with my finger to draw two big rainbows at the bottom. One on the left side and one on the right side, connecting to the bottom of my paper. I'm going to go ahead and tip over that marker. Remember, I'm not pressing down hard, because you don't squeeze your markers or press your markers down. Just gently making that big arch. Go ahead and make yours now. After I make two rainbows at the bottom, I'm going to get ready to draw a big oval or circle. It does not have to be perfect, because everybody's is going to be different. Make sure not to touch your ink. It does dry quickly if you're not pressing too hard, but you want to be careful where you're putting your arm, because ink doesn't wash out. Going ahead and ghost drawing again to draw that big circle on top of my two rainbows. Starting near the top of the paper, coming around and down to draw a big circle that takes up most of my paper. Go ahead and draw yours with me. Remember, if I'm moving a little too fast or too slow for you, feel free to use the sheet on your table. That handout can help you go step by step on your own, but I do suggest trying to follow with me. Now I'm connecting my circle to my other half circles at the bottom. This is going to be the polar bear's body hiding behind its head and its little paws. I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 lines that go straight up and down under my rainbows because those are going to be paws. That shows each little finger or toe. Go ahead and do that now. Now I'm finding the center of my big circle, which is the polar bear's head. I'm going to make a sideways oval in the middle. I'm going to color it in, but remember, don't use too much ink. Don't squeeze or press hard. Just gently color it in, and it shouldn't leave any ink behind the paper. If it does, that means you pressed too hard. If you have any on your fingers, that probably also means you're pressing too hard, so be extra careful. After I make that oval, I'm going to make a vertical line coming down from the polar bear's nose. Then I'm going to make a smile. That's an arch going up, kind of like a large U shape. Go ahead and do yours. I'm going to draw a big circle around my polar bear's mouth and nose. Oops! I didn't make a circle. My circle got all lumpy and bumpy. That doesn't mean I have to start over. It doesn't mean I scribble it out. It doesn't mean I have to be upset about it and pout. It just means that my polar bear is going to be extra special and unique. Everyone is different and everyone's art is different. That's okay. Keep moving. I keep moving to make 2 circles for my eyes. I leave a little bit of white in the center to show that it has a little bit of a reflection in its eye or a twinkle. After I give my polar bear 2 eyes, I need to give it 2 ears. The ears need to go on both sides of the head, but near the top, kind of over where I put the eyes. If I put my ears too close to the tippy top, it's not going to look like a polar bear. It might look like a bunny. If I put them on the sides, that might look more like a dog. I want to make sure that my polar bear has an ear at the 10 o'clock, like if you're looking at a clock, it would be where the 10 is and where the 2 is. That would mean 2 opposite sides of the clock. Now, I'm doing the same thing I do on one side as I do to the other. That's called symmetry. Our polar bear has symmetry because it has the same thing on both sides. It's got an ear and an ear on the other side. It's got an eye and an eye on one side. It is symmetrical. If you're all caught up with me, then that's great. If not, you can take your time, go back and look at that handout on your table and get caught up with us. It's okay, don't rush. If you are all caught up with me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a line in the background to show some snow. I'm not going to draw anything else so that I have room to add something super special next week. I'm not going to do any coloring in, just finishing my lines, drawing that snow in the background behind each side of the polar bear, not going straight through them, and then putting the cap onto my ink marker. When I lift up my paper, I need to make sure that I don't have a big inky mess. Only hold your paper flat like a pizza. Never ever pick it up with one hand and hold it flat. You've got to make sure that you're holding it completely flat, not up and down, because watch what happens if I use too much ink, like some of you might have, and I hold it like this. It's going to drip and make a big inky mess, whether I'm on my way to the drying rack or if I'm at my table and I just pick it up like that, I might get a big splotch of ink on my shirt, on the floor, on a rug, and that's not good because it doesn't wash off. So please make sure to be super careful and only hold your paper flat. In fact, Miss Q might even tell you to leave them on your tables or put them in your folder today. But they're probably going to need a little time to dry at the drying rack. So when you're done, make sure your name's on it. Make sure you don't hold it up like that, flat like a pizza. Only make sure that you use a sponge if you have any little ink messes. We're not going to wash our hands today though. We're going to use our wipes in our bins to wipe off our hands and any inky messes. All right, artists, have fun making your polar bears today.